This was great. Diana Taurasi on Caitlin Clark. Of course, the Mercury play the Fever this weekend. The first time Clark and Taurasi will meet in the pros, or, meet at all, really. Here was Taurasi about that matchup.
Your thoughts going into facing Caitlin Clark for the first time on Sunday?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
That's it. Yeah, it'll be fun. And that is typical Taurasi, right? I mean, she is, how do you want to say this? She can be abrasive, if you will. She can be cocky and all those things that come along with being an all-time great player. She's earned that right, has Diana Taurasi. And that to me, that response was very funny. Now, of course, there's a history here. There's a reason why the Taurasi-Clark matchup will have a bunch of hype. And it's not just because Taurasi was voted by fans as the WNBA GOAT and Caitlin Clark comes in to the league as the presumptive next GOAT. It's not just that, right? It's the comments that Taurasi has made in the past where she said reality is coming about Clark going to the league. And people took that and didn't like what she said, the spin, whatever. And then people used it to support Taurasi after Clark had a few struggles early in her career. And I think Taurasi, she came back and said the fans were sensitive about those comments. And more or less, she walked them back a little bit in saying that there's an adjustment period for anybody going from the league to a higher level, right? I mean, yeah, here's that quote as well from back then. The reality is coming one came, I think, on an ESPN telecast, but here was the sensitive fans comment from Taurasi.
And you said that Caitlin is going to go through a learning curve. Mm-hmm. Some people were critical of you for saying that, but I don't know that it necessarily meant that you're not welcoming to her, right? I mean, how do you I mean, it seems like you were just saying the reality is she's going to have a learning curve.
Yeah, it's the new fans. They're really sensitive these days. You can't say anything. It's kind of like when you go from kindergarten to first grade, there's a learning adjustment. When you go from high school to college, there's a learning adjustment. I don't think I said anything that wasn't factually correct. And like anything, greatness is going to translate. And she's proven that in every level. And I don't see it being any different in the WNBA.
So the tone changed for Taurasi, too. I think the initial response that the reality is coming wasn't even the substance of what she said that people took umbrage with. It was the tone in which Taurasi delivered it. But that short response that she just had, it's going to be fun, that was that was very funny, right? And I think it encapsulates why there was an issue with Caitlin Clark from some in the WNBA. Meaning all everybody was ever talking about was Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Clark's the GOAT, Caitlin Clark's this, Caitlin Clark carrying the league, Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Clark. And I think that's why you saw even like Kennedy Carter after the whole foul say, I don't want to answer any Caitlin Clark questions, right? And that was inappropriate in that context because of what happened on the floor, and she just played against Caitlin Clark. She should have answered Caitlin Clark questions. That's part of being professional. But I think what you see there is just like that backlash to the hype. That's what I've said the whole time. I think Caitlin Clark's hype is a result of her being a super fun basketball player to watch. And that's why people get excited about her for the most part, right? Like there's always other factors, but for the most part. And the negativity has been a result of the backlash to that hype, where these other women who have worked their whole lives to get where they are only hearing about Caitlin Clark. And take specifically Diana Taurasi, for instance, who is, arguably the greatest player of all time, certainly on the short list of greatest players of all time. And people are acting like the WNBA exists for the first time ever due to Caitlin Clark. Now, you could make the case that Taurasi could feel threatened. There's certainly a psychological case to make about that. I mean, the Jordan-LeBron debate happens all the time, and I've seen Jordan fans get really sensitive about anything. They feel threatened. It goes to show you that LeBron has reached that Jordan level because of their reaction. If they really didn't believe that LeBron was threatening Jordan or in the conversation with Jordan, they wouldn't have that visceral reaction. So perhaps part of it is Taurasi like seeing somebody who could come after her records, somebody who could come after her status. But then the other part of it is Taurasi's a competitor and she's a killer. You know, if you've ever watched her throughout her career, you've heard her, you've seen her, she locks in and says, I'm going to take you out. I mean, she said it herself. I'm going to kill the person across from me. That's her goal. That's the way she plays. And she could still do it. Like Taurasi can still play, which is amazing. Here's a comparison. You can get the link below, Women's Fast Break on SI. But I have some of the stats here for you in this piece about this specific quote. And here it is. So Taurasi is 42 years old, remember, in her 20th season. And she's still averaging 16.3 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 2.3 assists. Now, on the flip side of that, Caitlin Clark is averaging 16.3 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 6.6 assists. So by the points, rebounds, and assist categories, Clark is outpacing Taurasi. It's still incredible for Diana to be playing at this level at this point. And of course, the Team USA aspect of this factors in, right? The Team USA aspect where Taurasi is going to play in the Olympics, going for a record 6th gold medal. And Caitlin Clark was obviously famously left off that team. So all that adds up to the hype for this specific matchup. But I found Diana's comment and, quick response very amusing because I think, she's a pro. She gets it and she knows she's going to get the Caitlin Clark questions. And what a way to diffuse it, right? Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. But she's right. It will be fun. It will be fun to see the Indiana Fever take on the Phoenix Mercury. And whatever you think about each respective woman, Diana Taurasi is a legend of the game. And Caitlin Clark is coming. She's already here, right? So to see them share the floor, Diana ain't going to back down at any point. That ain't her DNA. And Caitlin is just getting better and better. That adjustment, she has adjusted to the reality that Taurasi referenced already. So seeing them in real time, in reality, sharing the court together as competitors, it's just another chapter in what has been a fascinating tale and a fascinating rookie season for Caitlin Clark and a huge, huge boost for the WNBA and women's basketball as a whole.